Hey guys, so another week here on the homestead over and done with. It's been a fantastic week. We've had some really hot temperatures though. Been up as high as 33 I think was the highest we had. So been limiting again what I've been up to, working in the mornings, and as this is late at the evening actually. So as you can see, we've just been tidying up the garden around me. This was all overgrown. That's all cleaned up now as well. Working on mostly the ornamental garden here in the front of the house, and then we've been weeding out some of the crops over there at the back, and going around onto the main field. We have actually mowed some of that as well. So anyway guys, I'll show you what I've been up to. I hope you've had a fantastic week. Hope you've been enjoying yourselves, and I will of course talk to you next week. Have a good one. Well, as you can see, the peonies are doing well. Not so many flowers this year, but we've actually got some colour variation, which looks very nice. Got some going from very light pink all the way through to a deep red, and yeah, they're looking quite nice. Of course, I know some people struggle with peonies, but I find it's best just to let them get on with it. They seem to thrive on neglect. Well, and these are the beans that came up this week. Just these little fellas. I grew these last year. These are seeds I collected from our beans last year. Only grew a couple last year, but got quite a few beans out of them, so we should have quite a lot of beans this year. I've got another row, but they're not germinating as well as this row seems to have. Well, we've been doing some pretty meticulous weeding, down on the hands and knees, crawling up and down the rows, picking all the weeds. As you can see, this is what it looks like. I've replanted this section in the middle, but the weeds either side, they kind of cover all the way over and between the corn. It takes ages, but you find some interesting little weeds in there. This one I saved because that's a tomato plant, a little volunteer tomato that's going to be allowed to grow with the corn here. Now every year this flower comes up. Beautiful flower, but no one seems to be able to identify it. If anyone knows what this is or what it's called, those are its leaves, then please let me know in the comments below. I've only got one of them, never seen them anywhere else, but yeah, every year I ask this. If anyone knows, let me know what this flower is. Next week I will definitely be shitting out the squash. As you can see, they've very much started to compete with each other, and I'll need to weed out all the grass that's in between them anyway. The sunflowers keep getting bigger. They are just below waist height at this point, so that's waist height. But yeah, getting some big leaves, and we found out this week that sunflowers can predict the future, because overnight they turn to face where the sun comes up in the morning. Interesting habit of theirs. And as you can see, it is very almost cherry time. Lots of cherries getting redder and redder. There's still a lot of white ones, but they ripen up at different times. They're still a little bit sour at this stage, which I actually quite like, but I'll be picking most of these probably next week. Morning girls, how are we doing? Breakfast. In fine voice there, Mr. Flaps. So I was just heading down here just to go out onto the main field and check out the corn and stuff I've got out there. But as you can see, the garlic, see, it's very slightly starting to turn brown. You see those leaves there? That means we're getting very close to harvest, and I just noticed that something's been through and trampled this one here. But then as I came down to check on it, I noticed right close to the surface there is some pretty chunky garlic under here. So yeah, that garlic's getting ready to harvest. This was planted later, and as you can see, it's all still completely green, so this is not ready to harvest. But this is the bigger garlic that I found in the shop. But this smaller garlic that seems to have grown very well is probably a week, maybe two tops away from being harvested. So yeah, as you can see, we've been out here on this field mowing away. I will come back through and pick up all of this. A couple of reasons. One, it composts a lot quicker. I don't need the nutrients back here in this field. This will only ever be grazing, and I'm going to plant it out and turn it into a fruit and nut forest eventually. I've actually got my first walnuts germinated, first walnuts I've ever managed to germinate, and they'll be being planted out this year. I've got a pine tree there, and we'll have a few more trees going in around. The first cherry is in down here. But yeah, so these are the corn plants that we planted out in this field. Now the first year I was here, I mistook some Johnson's grass for some corn plants. So now those are corn plants and that is Johnson's grass. I'm sure you can see where the confusion came from. Alright, so the lettuce is doing very well. This patch here was obviously planted first, about 2 weeks before this patch off to the right. Yeah, so the chickens are going to have a bumper crop of lettuce. They're all looking healthy, all looking lettucey. So yeah, lots of lovely green leaves very soon as well. And these are my other peonies. These are a pink, slightly different flower. As you can see, there's just tons of buds on these. They're actually quite tall. If I go down, so you are now just over, well, you're at belly button height. So yeah, they're reasonably tall for peonies. But yeah, they're doing pretty well as well. Lots of flowers just a few days away. Hey guys, well, I'm afraid that's it for this week. I just thought I'd finish off by showing you these. These are grape flowers. So each one of these develops into into a bunch of grapes. You can see each little individual thing becomes a grape. So this year we are having somewhat of a bumper harvest by the looks of it. All of those are going to be big old bunches of grapes. So it looks like the pruning regime has worked, and the whole plant, I mean, everywhere. I mean, up here on this bit, it's just crazy. This thing is going to get so heavy with grapes. I'm actually a bit worried about the cable supports that everything's on. It's only I think it's only 2mm steel gauge cable that's holding it up. And the amount of weight that these are going to put on in just water alone could be a little bit concerning. But anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this week. I hope you guys are having a fantastic time. I hope you're all staying safe and ignoring the calls for normality to return. So next week, I know it's easy for me to say that here on the homestead, but stay inside, stay safe, and next week I hope you'll join me, because it looks like we will be doing the cherry harvest and the garlic harvest, and I'll show you how to lift and store garlic next week. So if that interests you, tune in then, and until then, have a good one. Bye.